Hi, I'm Daniel Wong, and today we're going to be playing a very unique version of Taking Turns, Jeskai Taking Turns. So this build comes to us from Zachary Cohen, who just recently updated the primer on MTG Salvation for the Taking Turns deck. I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. But anyway, back to the deck. So at its core, this is still very much a Taking Turns deck. We've got a bunch of Dictate of Kruphix and Howling Mine effects, including Jace. Still got a bunch of extra turn effects to abuse those Howling Mines, pseudo extra turn effects and Exhaustion and Gigadrowse. But here's where the unique twist comes in. We get both Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile as interaction. We're also playing Opt instead of Serum Visions. The instant speed is nice, but I'm not sure how I like Scrying 1 versus Scrying 2. We'll see how it plays out. Still got Snapcaster Mage, still got Cryptic Command, still got Commandeer. Now, the much more interesting part, to me at least, is the mana base for this 3-color deck. So we've got 7 lands that don't produce a splash color, 5 basic islands, a Gemstone Caverns, and a Mikokoro. We've got 7 lands that produce both of our splash colors. There's 6 fetch lands, Flooded Strand, Scalding Tarns, and 1 Sacred Foundry. And then 5 red lands. Cascade Bluffs helps cast Anger of the Gods out of the sideboard. Then some Sulfur Falls and some Steam Vents. Then we've got 1 Temple of Enlightenment, some Glacial Fortress, and some Hallowed Fountain to round out the white lands. So that means in total we've got 5 plus 7 is 12 red sources, 4 plus 7 is 11 white sources, which is basically a little bit on the low end, but hopefully just enough to cast our splash cards. Then over on in the sideboard, we've got Anger of the Gods and Terminus as our board wipes. Stony Silence against artifact decks, a creature suite of Geist of St. Traft, Vendilion Clique, and 3 Thing in the Ice. Then we've got Surgical Extraction for those graveyard decks, and some counter spells. 1 Negate, 1 Disdainful Stroke, and 2 Ceremonious Rejections. So I've never actually played this particular build of the deck before, but it looks really exciting, so let's jump right into it. Okay, here we are for round 1. This hand is a little bit sketchy. Only 2 lands, but we are on the draw, and one of our lands is Mikokoro, which is kind of a Howling Mine. These Snapcaster Mages aren't really doing much. I feel like we have to toss it back. We're just not really getting anywhere. I think if we had like an Opt, so that we could Opt to hit a land and then Snapcaster Opt to do something, then we would be in good shape, but as it stands, I don't think this hand is keepable. Ooh. A 1-lander with Howling Mine. That's kind of rough. This is definitely risky, but I would rather keep this than go to 5. Notably, our opponent did also mulligan, but I think this is okay. We really just need to draw land in one of the top 3 cards, and that one wasn't it. Thraben Inspector. Interesting. Well, we hit our land, so that's good. Not really sure exactly what Thraben Inspector means. Not really sure what a second Thraben Inspector means. I'm glad they're not hitting very hard. I'm glad we also didn't see a Thalia from the other side. That would be pretty bad for us. I think we need to cast this Howling Mine now and try to get something going. Very curious what the opponent does here. Is this mono white Eldrazian taxes with... Interesting. Well, we don't have any basic mountain or basic plains in the deck, so I guess it's going to be an island. We would really like to hit a land, so that's a land. Luckily, our opponent doesn't have much of a clock right now, so next turn, if we manage to hit our land drop, we can... Is that a Mistveil Plains? Your graveyard. Okay, so that doesn't interact with Snapcaster Mage. I'm very confused what's going on the other side of the board here. Ooh. Let's see. We can Exhaustion, we can Snapcaster Opt, look for a land. We're at 8 cards in hand, so we would have to discard if we don't do anything. I think hitting our land drop is the most important thing right now. I would like to get this Dictate down, but I think getting 2 looks towards a land is the best thing we can do right now. That's not a land. Land. Nope. Much as it sucks, I think we might have to discard the Snapcaster Mage. Yeah. Interesting. Probably should have commandeered that Crucible, actually. Wasn't really thinking too hard about it, but I think I might bounce the Crucible and then commandeer it. But yeah, we would be in actually a lot better shape if I had done that. I think we just want to buy time, honestly. Well, let's see what we hit with Op before we decide if we're blocking or not. Yeah, that's a land. This is very strange. So our opponent's just trying to run us out of basics. Well, we're getting close. We're running out of basics, I mean. We ran out of basics. I guess let's start doing the time warp again. Yeah, because we still have Part the Waterveil. We have the option to Exhaustion and Dictate, but I don't actually like that very much because the opponent has Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin. Ghost Quarter is now just a strip mine with this Crucible of Worlds. Yeah, my mistake on not taking that. So these Scalding Tarns are running out of things to get. They can't get basic island. They can get 2 steam vents and a Sacred Foundry left. It's not a lot of things. Five. So we can bounce the Crucible of Worlds and Exhaustion, which sounds pretty alright. See, I think we'll just take 2. Actually, let's bounce the Crucible first. We're gonna... Yeah, then we can take 2 on a Hallowed Fountain, Exhaustion the opponent. We'll still have Commandeer up if somehow they do something important. We'll also draw a card with this. Yeah, seems nice. Bounce a permanent, draw a card. That permanent. Alright, we can't quite cast that, but that's alright. Our opponent is quite tired. Alright, not bad. That was a pretty good path to exile for us. All right, this is nice. Yeah, this is nice. see, so we want to put Temporal Mastery on top, and then not play a fetch land, warp ourselves. Given the contents of our hand, we might be on just a Jace ultimate here. Yeah, I don't even see a real reason to cast Op or anything. We do not need that. Or to cast Exhaustion, rather. So we had 2 turns queued up, we have 1 more now. Don't need that either. That seems like a good one. Don't want to cast any of these things. Could just bolt the opponent, but I don't think there's really a point. So I believe we are out of extra turns, but we did exhaustion the opponent, so I'm not really scared of anything really. Guess we can just go ahead and tap some stuff. And I think I'm just gonna discard Dictate of Kruphix. I don't think we're gonna use it. Guess I could have discarded Jace. Actually, what does this do? Put target card. Okay, so our opponent won't be able to stop themselves from decking. We're a little bit short. We can Gigadrowse the opponent, but then they would get to... No, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think we just plus again. We might want to opt if we get something cool. I think that counts as something cool. Let's see, we have 13 cards left in library. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think we just discard this opt. Basically, we just need to make sure that the opponent decks before we do, which I don't think is going to be too difficult of a task. Alright, so our opponent's library has 7 cards in it. They have this Mistveil Plains that can add extra stuff. I think we'll be able to... Actually, will we? Not sure. Didn't do the math. Well, in any case. Let's keep the new one. I think we're plussing. Kind of just taking random actions more or less. So I don't really think what we do matters all that much. Yeah, just, play a land, I guess. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can tap all but one permanent. I guess I should have tapped the Sacred Foundry instead of... Oops. I guess I should have tapped the Sacred Foundry instead of the Glacial Fortress so that we would have another blue source. Playing a little bit loose, but whatever. So let's see, I think we want to Snapcaster Exhaustion. We don't want to take any extra turns because we don't want to deck before our opponent does. And we just want our opponent to not untap that Mistveil Plains. I suppose if I had been thinking harder, I could have cast the Dictate earlier, but our opponent's just going to deck this turn, so. I don't think I'm missing anything. Let's take a quick look at what they have in Exile. There's a lot of stuff. I'm just going to try to play a little bit faster. I didn't realize how much of the clock I was using. The amount is a lot of the clock. All right, cool. So, whoops. Just took a print screen of this so that we can take a look. This is Martyr of Sands, Elish Norn, Ranger of Eos, Squadron Hawk. Interesting. Archangel Avacyn, Ketra's Monument. This list is bizarre. All right, well, I'm not really sure exactly what the best thing to do here is. Sun Titan. I don't think we want to bring in Surgical. I think we might want Terminus and Anger. I'm really not sure though. Maybe Thing in the Ice. Whatever happens, I do think I'm going to have to play faster because I was wasting too much time in game 1. So maybe we just want ways to kill the opponent. Something like that. Let's see, Path to Exile seems mostly bad, except it is good against Avacyn, it's good against Sun Titan. Very, very unsure. Let's see, maybe take out part the Waterveil Commandeer. Maybe take out Paths. Probably take out at least one Snapcaster because I think our opponent is going to bring in some amount of graveyard hate. Let's see. 2 more cards. Yeah, this is really tricky. I've never played against a deck quite like this before, so I'm not super sure. My intuition is that Gigadrowse is not amazing, but I don't really know. Yeah, let's just try it like that, I guess. Alright, so I am going to try to play a little bit faster, so I might do a little bit less commentary. This hand looks good, though. We can get both colors if we need them, and we have a thing. Okay. Interesting. So, Leyline is good against Exhaustion, because Exhaustion is now an uncastable card. It might be hard to deal enough damage to deal with this. We might be getting clocked. I'm going to get Hallowed Fountain so that we'll have the option to cast a Miracle Temporal Mastery, but obviously we're not that lucky. What is White Mane Lion? This is a very, very interesting deck. Whoops. So the part here that kind of sucks is that we could Jace to put these Temporal Masteries on top, but then Jace just dies to these Squadron Hawks. So I think I would rather try to flip Thing in the Ice before casting Jace if possible. Alright, so we know the opponent has a Squadron Hawk and that White Mane Lion that I accidentally X'd out. Alright, 2 White Mane Lions and a Squadron Hawk. Alright, so I think I'm going to start just casting spells now. Like I said, this Exhaustion is not castable because it targets the opponent, and we cannot target the opponent. Ooh, actually, we can Jace and then tap a Squadron Hawk at the beginning of combat. The opponent can make us shuffle with this Ghost Quarter, though. That's no good. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Gigadrowse early. Now, do we fetch Shock? I think so. I don't think we're on that much of a clock. Oh, we already got. All right, has to be Steam Events. So we can't really stop the opponent from developing their board because White Main Lion has Flash. So I'm just going to tap the 3 creatures and then tap 2 lands. Interesting. Very interesting. One, two, three. I think I'm just going to Gigadrowse at upkeep and then try to go off after that. This costs 5 and tapping it to flip, so unless our opponent has Simian Spirit Guide or something, they will not be able to flip it. This Exhaustion is not castable. I think I'm just gonna... We don't really care about if our opponent develops their board or not. Actually, I guess we care about Path to Exile if our opponent draws that. I'm gonna bank on them not drawing it, so just tap the flyers and tap some lands. Cool. So this lets us flip Thing in the Ice this turn, which is nice. We do not need that now, do we? Or do we need that? All right, so we're gonna need to chain enough turns together that we can kill the opponent, because otherwise they're going to gain a metric buttload of life off of the Martyr of Sands. See, again, that Exhaustion is not castable. We're gonna get Surgical Extraction, maybe? That was kind of a weird pause. Oh. Alright, cool. I'll see you for round 2. Okay, here we are for round 2. We've lost the die roll. This hand looks pretty good, though. This mana base is a little bit painful. I think the first thing we're going to fetch is probably a basic island, but I think this is a keeper. This is nice and redundant, too. Oh, okay. Or we can just play a basic island. Opponent on Wooded Foothills. This could be Jund. This could be a slow start from Hollow One. This could be a Phoenix deck. I'm guessing Phoenix deck. That's really weird that they didn't do anything. We can't miracle that, so no thank you. Let's see, they milled Lightning Bolt and Spire Bluff Canal. Okay. I'm not really sure if we want to fetch white first or if we want to fetch red first. I think that in general, fetching red first is better because you'd rather cast Lightning Bolt early. But in this particular case, I think we would want Path to Exile for our opponent's threats. But there's a Lightning Bolt. Our opponent hasn't actually played a threat yet. I'm actually going to bottom this Bolt, I think. And I think I'm going to fetch a Hallowed Fountain. If our opponent doesn't do anything, I think I might just Dictate. The other option is Snapcaster Opt. It is cool to have that option. Let's see, our opponent milled Serum Visions and Lightning Bolt. Nothing interesting yet. I think our opponent may have kept a bad Phoenix hand. Crackling Drake. That hits hard. I think I'm going to Dictate this turn, and I'm going to save the Exhaustion for when the Crackling Drake is tapped, so that we're actually buying ourselves a turn there. Would also be nice to draw Path against this. I wouldn't mind a nice little Path to Exile. Cryptic Command. All right, there's Path. So we could do both Path and Exhaustion, which I think is fine because then on the following turn we would have Cryptic or Dictate up. Yeah, I think that's all right. Also going to play the Gemstone Caverns here. I could shock on this, or I could fetch a basic or whatever, but I think I just want to save life against a deck with lightning bolts in it. Could very well be the wrong choice, but we'll see. Yeah, figuring out the colors of mana is much, much more difficult when you have 3 colors in your deck than 2. Alright, what's the opponent up to? 8 cards in hand and just discarding? Just discarding a Phoenix. Alright, so we have a few options. We could shock ourselves and then Snapcaster Exhaustion. We could fetch a basic, and then Snapcaster Exhaustion. Kind of like fetching a basic and then Snapcaster Exhaustion. It would be nice if we had another Dictate on board, so we're being a little bit more productive, but I think it'll be fine to have Cryptic up after that. Again, I just want to play the lands that do the least amount of damage to me. It would be really incredible if our opponent got this Phoenix back this turn. It would involve like double gut shot or like, ooh, there's another Phoenix. Yeah, I think keeping up Cryptic Command to tap our opponent's team is going to be very, very helpful. Oh, bye Snapcaster. Oh, well, ain't that something? Was not expecting that. That is for sure. I was really hoping we would have better draws. Let's see, I can either play a Steam Vents tapped or play one of Sulfur Falls or Glacial Fortress, and that allows us to tap the 2 Arclights and then potentially counter draw post-combat if our opponent has another Crackling Drake or something. I think I kind of like that. Play a Sulfur Falls to prepare us in case we need to like Bolt Snap Bolt or something. Ooh, let's get that beginning of combat stop set. Yeah, we're not really concerned about Manamorphose. There's no more Phoenixes in the yard, so it's not really a big deal. I wonder if our opponent's planning on casting like Faithless Looting and dumping some more Phoenixes. Well, there's the Faithless Looting part. If they do, we have the option to just Gigadrowse 3 of them, and then, oh, conveniently there are 3 Phoenixes if our opponent goes to combat now. So we can Gigadrowse the 3 of them and then cast a Dictate, which I think might be better. Our opponent, I think, could... Oh, that's interesting. Breeding Pool. was going to say, I think our opponent could play a land and then cast a Drake, which would be pretty bad for us, but it looks like that sleight of hand makes that not an option anymore. So I think I am going to just Gigadrowse the 3 Phoenixes and then cast Dictate. Yeah, it's very interesting. I didn't know that the Phoenix deck was splashing green. I guess that's Ancient Grudge. Really don't know exactly what else it would be. Young Pyromancer. Interesting. This is not a Phoenix deck that I know anything about. All right, let's see if we can draw some nice little time warps. There we go. I really should yield to all, whatever, or always yield rather. Ooh, that's nice. Let's see, so what do we have here? We can snap path the Young Pyromancer and then start working on our opponent's life total. That sounds pretty good. I'm gonna keep 1 Snapcaster in hand so that we can snap Time Warp next turn. I was going to say, if our opponent has a gut shot, that's pretty bad for us, but it looks like they do not. So that's pretty good for us. Might as well make our opponent a little tired. Nice. I think this is a victory. I'll put that on top just in case. I don't really know. Pretty sure we have very lethal. Oh yeah, we have very lethal. Could have killed the opponent this turn with Part the Waterveil, but I'd rather just show fewer cards. Cool. All right, sideboarding. Surgical is good against Phoenix specifically. Anger is a little bit slow against the Phoenix. Although, our opponent showed Young Pyromancer, so there is a stronger argument for bringing in Anger. I think Terminus is very good because it's also good against Crackling Drake. Anger is not great against the Drake, so I think we're going to leave Anger on the sidelines. Geist doesn't really attack very well into things. I think our creature suite is going to be the 3 things. I don't think Vendilion Clique lines up very well against Phoenixes. Negate seems good. These other counterspells do not seem good. Stony Silence doesn't do anything. Alright. Let's see, so we're bringing in 8 cards. Let's figure out what to cut. I think leaving Commandeer in is fine. It's not amazing here, but I think it's okay to have it. Don't need part. Path I think is great. Bolt, let's see. So the opponent had Young Pyromancer. Normally, I don't think I would keep in Bolt against the Phoenix decks that I know of, which their threats are Thing in the Ice, Crackling Drake, and Phoenix, and Bolt isn't particularly good against any of those. But because our opponent showed Young Pyromancer, I think I want to keep in at least 1 Bolt. I'm not sure. I don't think I want 3. I'm not sure if we want 2. I think I'm gonna trim it to 1 because we're bringing in Terminus also as a way to answer Young Pyromancer. Let's see, I think we can trim a Mine. I think we can trim a Snapcaster. Exhaustion seems alright. I'm fine with trimming a Jace against a deck that has a lot of bolts and 3 power haste flyers. For cutting a Jace, I'm alright with cutting 1 Miracle. 1 more card. Not sure, not sure, not sure. Maybe a Gigadrowse. I'm really unsure of this last cut, but just gotta cut something. All right, let's try it like that. Ooh. This is a very lucky hand. We'll be able to turn to a Dictate, which is not bad. I think we want to get rid of one of our lands here. I think Sacred Foundry is the worst land. Keep in mind this gemstone now taps for any color, including red, so we don't really need that Sacred Foundry for anything. All right, so we could Gigadrowse, but I don't think that really accomplishes much. It would stop our opponent from casting Thing in the Ice this turn, or stop them from having a crazy nut draw of like turn 2, get some Phoenixes in the yard and bring them back, but I guess that's not happening. It looks like our opponent might be mana screwed. They bottomed with that op, and well, we can't see what they sleight of handed, but they might not play a land this turn. Oh, okay. I'm gonna save that Surgical for Phoenix. Slightly regretting getting rid of a land now. We still have 2 more draws towards a land, assuming our opponent does not counter this Dictate. That's kind of surprising. I guess we only have 5 basics. Oops. Guess we only have 4 more basics after this. That's kind of annoying. It does mean it's harder to cast this Time Warp. We do have Surgical Snap Surgical though, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool too. Let's see. I think I'll just play the island. We could Gigadrowse the opponent. I think Gigadrowse is not going to do very much because, you know, we only have 2 islands. I think we just want to hit the opponent's blue sources if they play another island. So I'm going to not do this at upkeep and do this at end step instead. I guess we're also never casting Terminus or Path to Exile with this Blood Moon on board, but hopefully that won't be an issue. That, on the other hand, that might be an issue. All right, our opponent has only cast 1 instant or sorcery, so unless they go like double gut shot again, I'm not going to use this Surgical yet. This, they're paying costs. This might be a, what the heck? Surgical Scalding Tarn? Their own Scalding Tarn. That's not our Scalding Tarn. What the heck? Alright, so we don't get to see anything. I think our opponent might have just miscounted. Did they even... They exiled 2 Scalding Tarns. I don't think that was a very good use of Surgical Extraction by our opponent, but no, whatever. Alright, speaking of Scalding Tarn. So that Blood Moon does make it kind of annoying for Snapcaster. Snapcaster just doesn't really do much because we don't have enough blue symbols. But yeah, it is what it is. So if our opponent attacks with Young Pyromancer, we have the opportunity to put Snapcaster in front of it, but I don't think that's worth it. Both because our opponent could have either Lightning Bolt or Gut Shot right now, and also because I would rather just Snapcaster Exhaustion next turn, or draw an island and then Snapcaster Time Warp. We're at a pretty healthy 16 right now. I'm not too scared. Let's see an island. Feel like we might be getting surgically extracted pretty soon. Alright, maybe our opponent just has interesting stops. Island, please. Nope. Alright, so we have some options. We can Snapcaster Exhaustion. We can just straight up Exhaustion. It is kind of annoying that we can't both Exhaustion and Dictate because of that Blood Moon. I think I'm just going to use Exhaustion because I feel like our opponent has another Surgical, and it would be much better for us to just use the Exhaustion in our hand than to Snapcaster, target the one in the graveyard, and then get this one ripped out of our hand. I think this is the most disaster-proof scenario. We would, of course, be able to Commandeer, but I don't really want to use those resources right now. Actually, it is kind of sick to Commandeer onto our opponent's Arclight Phoenix. Commandeer a Surgical Extraction, target the Phoenix. That'd be cool. So this is very interesting. I really don't know exactly what's going to come out of our opponent's deck here. They're just on such a weird build. Oh, I guess Thing in the Ice was an argument for using Snapcaster last turn, so that this turn we would be able to Thing in the Ice, follow up with Exhaustion, but... Well, here we are. Let's do what we can. I just realized I probably should have bolted this Young Pyromancer earlier. I was planning on doing that eventually, and I think I should have done this before I gave the opponent an opportunity to use Surgical Extraction or to bolt our Snapcaster. Yeah, that was just a mistake on my part. Opponent has a lot of very nice mountains. Okay, Manamorphose is fine. I Actually, shoot. We could Commandeer that Manamorphose, make double blue, and cast Dictate. I didn't think about that one. I think our opponent is going to go for the triple spell into Arclight Phoenix, and I am a-okay with allowing them to attempt it. We will, of course, beginning of combat, surgically extract the Arclight Phoenixes. Discarding 2 mountains. I wonder what was taking so long on that. All right, when they go to beginning of combat, I think it's time to... Oh. They're just going face? Wow. No respect for Snapcaster Mage, really? The opponent might have Gutshot or something? Then they would just Gutshot Snapcaster though, right? Alright, so very important that we exile those. Let's just double check. 4 Phoenixes in exile, good. Alright, so our opponent's hand is Crackling Drake, Lightning Bolt, Thing, Thought Scour. Alright, so Crackling Drake, Thing. There's only one more Young Pyromancer, interesting. So 2 Drakes, 2 Pyromancers, 4 Things, and the 4 Phoenixes are the threats. Okay, anything else? There's no counter spells, and there's 1 more Blood Moon. There are 2 Surgicals. Alright, so we're not playing around counter spells, but we are playing around Surgical. Good to know. So I could get greedy and Thing in the Ice and then Time Warp, or I could just Time Warp now. I kind of just want to Time Warp now. I think it's better to Time Warp now rather than give our opponent opportunities to draw Surgical and rip this out of our hand. So we can Dictate, or we can Thing Opt. We know that the opponent has a Lightning Bolt in hand, which means if we block with Thing, then they get to bolt it. Let's take a quick look. There are a lot more bolts in the deck still. We could use Surgical Extraction as a way to get rid of Bolt, and then that allows us to also block, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I think I like that. So it's going to be land, Thing in the Ice, Surgically Extract Lightning Bolt, pass the turn, end step Opt. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I think I'm also going to leave the Snapcaster behind to block. Actually, no, it doesn't make a difference. If we take the bolts out of their deck, we're not in too much danger of being burned out. There's no more Phenai. The biggest danger is Crackling Drake or the opposing Thing in the Ice flipping. Our opponent only has 1 blue source right now, so they don't have very good ways of taking counters off Thing in the Ice, so I think I'm pretty okay with doing this. So we definitely want to take the one in hand. If we take the 2 in the library, we make the Crackling Drake bigger, but I think our plan is going to be Gigadrowsing that, so I don't think it matters how big the Crackling Drake is. Plus, I haven't counted, but it's probably lethal, honestly. Yeah. Let's see, so do we attack or no? I think we attack. I think the 1 point of damage isn't going to make a difference here. Opponent has a lot of cards in exile. So this is probably Thing in the Ice. Yeah. Excuse me. What else did our opponent have? Not Lightning Bolt. Another thing. Fountain that I think they played. Thought Scour, Crackling Drake. Our opponent doesn't have a lot. What are they surgically extracting? Time Warp? So we could Commandeer this. I don't really want to, though. I think we can just let the opponent have it. It's like not really much for us to get. I guess we can hit Faithless Looting. I'm gonna opt first and see what we hit. Let's see. I think Snapcaster Mage is a reason to... Oh, we only have 2 blue sources. We would be able to Snapcaster Exhaustion. I'm still gonna... Yeah, I think I'm going to Commandeer this Surgical. Let's see, our opponent had 2 Surgicals left in their deck. I don't think they have both Surgicals right now. So I'm going to hit Faithless Looting because I don't think the opponent has another Surgical in hand, and those Faithless Lootings are kind of a bigger deal because they're a lot more immediately castable. Also, our thing goes to 1, and then we get to Snapcaster, target Exhaustion, Exhaustion the opponent, hit him for 7, and then Snapcasters will be bounced, and then we'll be able to Snap Bolt after that, which is kind of sick. All right, we want to change the target to Faithless Looting. All right, Sleight of Hand, Thing, Thought Scour, Crackling Drake, yep. Okay, I don't think we're very afraid. I'm not gonna bother taking another screenshot. Yep, opponent does not have a way to kill Thing, so that's a safe block. Ooh, that's nice. That's really nice. I think this is like super mega lethal, because we're gonna have another Time Warp turn off of this Snapcaster. We've got a Snap Bolt, and we have an Exhaustion in hand, and we're drawing like 4 or 6 cards or whatever in the course of all that. Opponent is pretty dead. Yeah, that Blood Moon, it was more annoying than anything else. It just kind of slowed us down, but it also slowed the opponent down so much. They only had their one blue source. They couldn't cast their Crackling Drake. They couldn't cast their, like, basically anything. Wow, this is kind of sick. Suppose I'm just having fun when I'm doing that. All right, see you for round 3. All right, here we are for round 3. We've won the die roll. Let's see. Yeah, this hand looks pretty decent. It'd be nice if this Temporal Mastery wasn't there. I think we're probably going to turn 1 Temple and then turn 2 double opt. Turn 3, hopefully draw land and dictate. We are pretty likely to see a land in the next, let's see, 1, draw for turn 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 cards. We're almost guaranteed to hit our 3rd land drop if we want it, and we do want it. Our opponent deciding whether to mulligan to 6. So when your opponent takes a long time to decide on their mulligan, they could be, you know, doing whatever. This is Magic Online. People sometimes are AFK. Ooh, is this going to be good? We have kind of some stuff to pitch. I feel like it's kind of greedy to keep it on top, but I am kind of a greedy person sometimes, and we have a lot of draws to see our 3rd land. Yeah, this is definitely very greedy, especially in the dark when you don't know what the opponent is. It could have been a very bad idea, but let's see. I'm guessing this is a Hardened Scales deck. Oh man. With the 2 mana on turn 2. Alright, it would have been nice if we could have taken that Hardened Scales, but it was not meant to be. And now this Commandeer is looking kind of foolish. Luckily the opponent doesn't have that many cards in hand, just 4 left, so hopefully they're bad ones. Okay. Alright, well that's a land. It does hurt us, but it is a land. Is this Gigadrowse going to be good? I don't think so. I think we just want to keep hitting something so we can tie this Dictate into the Time Warp. Alright. Well, that hurts a little. Hopefully our opponent just has a slow enough start that we'll be able to go off. If they have something like an Arcbound Ravager, we're going to be in a lot of trouble because they would be able to sacrifice the Hangerback Walker, put 2 counters on the Ravager. I guess they would tap the Hangerback Walker first, right? Suspend a mana, tap the Walker, it goes up to 4 counters. If they can play another land, like I think the worst case scenario for us is like land Arcbound Ravager. So let's say they do that. They play a land, they play Arcbound Ravager, they get to make a servo, they get to tap Hangerback Walker. This has 4 counters on it, and then eat it with Arcbound Ravager. It has Ravager would have 4 counters. Hangerback makes 4 Thopters. You eat 4 Thopters for 8 counters. Yeah. And then this just gets super lethal on the Inkmoth. Maybe I should have kept that Gigadrowse on top. I think we have to take that. I don't really like Snap Opt here. Actually, maybe Snap Opt is a good idea to give our opponent less opportunity to draw into a Ravager. And then next turn we'll Dictate, and the following turn we'll start trying to go off. Yeah, all right. Guess this is mostly bad if we do something like, you know, Miracle a Temporal Mastery next turn. Like basically, if this top card is Temporal Mastery, we would much rather have had a Dictate on top, but that's just not very likely. It's a little bit greedy to keep this because we do need a 5th land in order to start warping, but I think we need to get a little bit lucky anyway. So I think I will keep this on top. Let's see, we'll have the opt draw, and then, sorry, opt draw is going to be Time Warp. We'll have the draw for next turn, and then 2 dictate draws to hit a land. That's 3 cards. We're reasonably likely to do that. I'm going to take the greedy line again. So I could shock to give us Bolt and Dictate. When this deck kills you, they kill you by a lot. I think the 2 life is not going to matter that much. This kind of insulates us against a Ravager, because if they go for the Ravager on Inkmoth, we get to bolt it in response to Ravager's modular trigger. Actually, I guess it doesn't because of this Arcbound Worker. I didn't realize this was going to put 3 counters on the Inkmoth, which puts it out of bolt range. Let's hope the opponent isn't that smart. All right, well, I like the fact that we're going to beginning of combat. What is the opponent doing in beginning of combat? Interesting. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we block the Arcbound Worker just so that, like I said, the opponent's Inkmoth is not as protected against a bolt if they get an Arcbound Ravager. This does look like kind of a weird block because the opponent gets to put those counters on Hanger back, but we're not planning on giving the opponent another turn anyway. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think we have to plan on taking a lot of turns. I don't think there's any way we're really surviving if we don't go off like right now. All right, we need a land. Okay, that does something. Unfortunately, our opponent gets to untap that Mox Opal, so they still get to play a 2-mana threat, which is their biggest threat. You know, stuff like Arcbound Ravager or, well, I guess Hanger Backwalker doesn't really matter anymore, and neither does Steel Overseer. If they have lethal, they have lethal, and if they don't, they don't. So this Lightning Bolt is going to keep us from dying if they decide to go all in, which is nice. Let's see what they do. So for those of you who don't know the way this works, with Arcbound Ravager, there's 2 abilities on it, the Sack and Artifact and the Modular ability. Modular targets, which means if they were to use that modular ability, we would hit whatever they targeted with Lightning Bolt before modular resolved, but it looks like that's not. Oh no, we need a land. Land. Oh, never in the right order either. All right. I may have been a bit too greedy in some of these places, but I think we were pretty likely to have seen a land in all those cards that we drew. Oh. Well, that's just unfortunate. All right, let's see what we have in the sideboard. Stony Silence seems great. Rejection and Negate. So with Negate, it's weird. The card that I care about most that Negate hits is Hardened Scales. The deck functions very, very differently when they do or do not have Hardened Scales, but you can't hit a turn 1 Hardened Scales with Negate, whether you're on the play or the draw. So I'm inclined to say it's not worth bringing this in, but I could be very wrong about that. I really don't know. Vendilion Clique is not good because they have Walking Ballista. Just kills this straight up. Let's see, Terminus seems probably decent. Thing. Yeah, I think this is a thing matchup. All right, Surgical doesn't do anything. Anger is kind of questionable. I don't think I want to bring it in. Let's see, so what to bring out? So Commandeer is basically only good when you're hitting Hardened Scales, and even then it's just a really bad Force of Will. So I think it's worth taking out. See, I'm fine with trimming Howling Mine, a Snapcaster. I'm not sure how I feel about Lightning Bolts here. It is interaction, which is good. But it's interaction that stops working pretty early on when their threats get really big. It doesn't work well against I'm running out of time. It doesn't work well against just an Arcbound Ravager. So I'm gonna trim at least 1, maybe 2. I'm gonna trim apart, going to think a little bit faster about the next 3 cards. I'm not a fan of Gigadrowse here. They can go wide if they have animation module. It can be hard to just tap down everything because Arcbound Ravager makes everything a threat. I don't really like Exhaustion against Mox Opal decks. You saw the opponent having 2 mana was a really, really big deal. All right, we'll try it like that. Again, I'm not very sure of my sideboarding here, but we'll see how it goes. Yes, we will go first. This hand isn't great, but it has Rejection. We can try to draw some lands, get up to Cryptic. I'm going to keep it. This is definitely a questionable hand. I think I'm going to wait on the opt. We probably want to hit lands. I also don't know if I'm supposed to just reject the first thing I can. Well, I can't reject that. If I'm just supposed to reject the first thing I can, or if I'm supposed to wait for like an Arcbound Ravager. I don't know if I should. Okay, Hangerback Walker. I don't know if I should reject like a Mox Opal, for example. Like I said, I am going to wait on this opt. Okay. Yeah, so now we're definitely looking for lands. The reason to wait on the opt is if we just draw a land naturally, there's a chance that we want to start looking for spells. But as it stands, our hand is expensive and we want lands. The other reason to wait is we effectively don't get punished here. Okay, not countering that one. We effectively don't get punished here. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm just gonna Ceremonious Rejection this, but this could be a huge mistake. I think I just want the opponent to not have a threat. And that one happens to work very well with Arcbound Ravager. So anything that, boy, that would be great, but we need a land. Okay. Nice little explore. Hopefully we can top deck a land after this and have Cryptic Command up. That would be really, really sick. All right. Okay. I would much rather cast this than have it stuck in hand. 7 mana is pretty far away right now. Ooh, that's not a land. Let's see. I think I'm just going to main phase opt and look for a land, and then if we hit a land, I think I'm going to exhaustion the opponent. Oh boy. Well, I got punished for getting greedy last time, but I'm not going to learn from my mistakes. Let's get greedy. So the bad news is we have only one Temporal Mastery left that we can miracle. The other two are in exile, already miracled. I think I'm just going to leave up Cryptic Command. The opponent doesn't really have much going on right now. This Archon Ravager can only attack for 2, so we can actually just block that. Yeah, I think we just want to counter draw. So I think I'm just gonna exhaustion the opponent here. With the plan of bolting their face, and then on our turn, time warp, attack with thing, time warp. They'll be taking 14, going down to 5. The bolt brings them down to 2. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. We'll have Cryptic up. Yeah, and I think that'll be pretty good. It seems like the opponent's draw just really didn't come together. 4 lands is, I think, way too many for this deck. Let's see, so we will hurt ourselves. I don't think there's a way this goes wrong for us. That's kind of nice too, but I would much rather just take an extra turn. This will be good for later. Alright, so we have a lot of good draws. That wasn't one of them. I would rather leave a Cryptic Command than cast Thing here. There's just no point. The opponent is going to be taking a lot of damage. I don't really think they have a way out through both Cryptic and Path to Exile. Yeah, there's also just like not really a way to kill this unless they somehow are splashing Path or whatever. Let's see, so I could just Path that, which I think is what my plan is. Just to leave up Cryptic just in case the opponent has something crazy. Ancient Stirrings is not something crazy. Are they revealed animation module? I think, yeah, we path in response to this, and that way they don't get a chance to get any creatures, and then we'll still have Cryptic up, so that even if they somehow are like splashing Path to Exile or something, we will not lose. Cool. All right, any other sideboard changes? I don't think so. I still think Negate is too slow because the thing that you want to hit is Hardened Scales. I could try to be a little bit more interactive by bringing in either Bolt or Anger. Yeah, let's try that. I'll bring in a Bolt, take out what? Jace is pretty good when you bounce stuff. Maybe a Dictate? Really not sure what to bring out. Try it like that. Ooh. This is kind of a lucky hand. Let's see, it's not very interactive, but we get a turn 2 Dictate. We can maybe block something with Snapcaster at some point. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep it. Getting rid of this Temporal Mastery that we're never going to be able to cast at 7,000 mana. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm just going to play it Steam Vents tapped. I don't think there's a need to represent anything on the Scalding Tarn. And we're not going to cast Snapcaster this turn, so. Well, that's not good for us. So I do think we're going to cast Dictate this turn. We're going to try to find some kind of interaction, and we're going to try to not die. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have any good follow-ups. Ooh, that is probably a good follow-up. I suspect they were just low on lands. Ooh. Yeah, that ain't good for us. Good for the opponent. Not good for us. All right. Cryptic is a decent one. Time Warp is also a decent one. Let's see, so we're looking at 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 damage next turn, or up to 8. If the opponent plays a land and uses Ballista, that's 4 there. So 2, 4, 8 plus 4 is 12. Okay. So I don't think we need to Cryptic here, and in fact I think we shouldn't. Because if our opponent casts like an Arcbound Ravager, then I think we might just die. That's really suspicious. I think our opponent has Nature's Claim, but there's not really anything we can do about it. Okay, I guess they don't. Oops. I meant to click Island there. That could definitely come back to bite us. Yeah, it's a good thing we're still 3 away from dead from that, but oh no. You really need to get something going. This is not good. This is not good. Yeah, geez, I think my misclick there actually is gonna do it. Maybe not. The opponent invests mana. So we have this Gigadrowse and we have Ceremonious Rejection. So we can Gigadrowse these 3 at beginning of combat. And then we have Ceremonious Rejection up for if they do anything else. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think I also really want to hit a land. So I'm going to get a little bit greedy and opt to try to hit a land. that's a land. Yeah, it was definitely a huge mistake clicking Hallowed Fountain instead of Island there. Let's see, I guess I can also tap the Blink Moth, which is pretty acceptable. Yeah, man, it's gonna feel pretty bad if we lose based on my misclick, but I think that's pretty realistic at this point. The Walking Ballista can go up to 6, which means our fetch lands are turned off after this. If our opponent decides to put 2 counters on, which may or may not be happening. All right, that's super lethal, so definitely need to counter that. All right, so we're just dead either way. Yeah, the opponent has millions of counters and can very easily kill us. Well, that was kind of unfortunate. Another land would be pretty nice in terms of we get to start continuing to go off. We get Snapcaster. Wow, we were very far away from a land, but that Stony Silence would have been good too. All right, see you for the next match. Okay, here we are for round 4. We've lost the die roll. Well, this isn't a great hand, but I think it's keepable. I am going to luck this Gemstone Caverns, probably getting rid of Sulfur Falls. Mostly because Sulfur Falls doesn't come in untapped with the Gemstone Cavern or the Temple. Yeah, so we are definitely looking for something here. Or rather, we're looking for a Dictate or a Jace, probably. And hopefully this Lightning Bolt is good against the opponent, whatever they're on. This could be Jund, this could be Mardu, this could be Death Shadow. Grixis Death Shadow? I feel like Grixis Shadow is the most likely thing based on the fact that this is a polluted delta into the Blood Crypt. But I feel like they usually get Watery Grave first, so this is kind of weird. It's also kind of weird that our opponent has taken more than a minute for their first turn. I mean, I guess it's kind of complicated to do Death Shadow math if that's what's going on, but you know, they could also just be chilling, reading a book, going to the bathroom, talking with their buddy, cooking dinner. You know, anything could be happening right now. All right, in terms of our hand lining up against Death Shadow, Lightning Bolt is pretty decent if they're very careless with their life total. It's pretty easy to just like bolt snap bolt them and then get an attack in and kill them. I don't know how good this Gigadrowse is going to be, and Cryptic is usually pretty decent. We just obviously need to get up to Cryptic Mana, which means hitting one more land by our third turn, which I think we're going to do. Of course, I've been pretty wrong about our lands this league so far, but we'll see. Okay, we're back. Our opponent has cast an Inquisition. I don't think there's any sense in bolting them now, so we'll let it happen. For these kinds of games that are very resource one-for-one-y, very resource trading, where like the opponent's just going to Inquisition us. Ooh, they took Gigadrowse. Maybe they're going to stubborn denial us later. It could be a mistake to have used the Gemstone Caverns, because we might need all of our resources, I don't think. It's interesting that our opponent took a Gigadrowse, but I think I'm going to bottom this one because I think we would rather just hit a land. Gigadrowse isn't actually doing anything productive until we get a... It's not doing anything productive until we get a Mine Effect online anyway. 2 lands. Okay, this is Grixis Shadow. I wonder if they're going for an Angler or a Shadow. If it's Shadow, we bolt it. If it's Angler, I think I am just going to path it now. The reason being I don't want this to get stubborn denialed. And if our opponent gets another land, they get another land. They, I think, had ditched 2 lands with that Faithless Looting, so not a big deal. Okay, cool. We have Snap Path, which is nice. We can even target Snapcaster with Path as a build your own rampant growth. We also might have Bolt Snap Bolt at some point. If we want to do that, we would want double red. If we want to Snap Path, we might need, okay. Really just casting this because, again, there's no sense in getting it stuck in your hand. All right, so now we have Cryptic up. We also have Bolt Snap Bolt, which is a fast clock, but I suspect that our opponent has either more Gurmag Anglers in hand or Interaction. And I think it's much more likely that they have Interaction. Let's take a quick look at what was exiled with... Yeah, I believe that Faithless Looting had pitched 2 lands, so I think they had just the right number of lands. But anyway, I think we do want another red source so that we do have Bolt Snap Bolt available as an option. Yeah, not going to counter that. I would counter something like a Tasigur, a Gurmag Angler, maybe a Death Shadow. So we have the option of going for Bolt Snap Bolt, but I think it's not a good idea because I suspect that the opponent, they have a handful of spells, they haven't been playing lands, so it's probably removal. And the reason I'm waiting on cracking this Tarn is I would rather increase the chances that we draw a land. I guess it's entirely possible the opponent just has a bunch of blue cards in hand, and they've really only been casting 1 blue card per turn. On second thought, I don't think the life loss from Shocking is worth it, and we are going to want to Steam Vents, so maybe I should have just done this earlier, but whatever. Oh, nice. Nice of you to show up, Steam Vents. Right on cue. Yeah, again, I think we're not rushing anything. I think we want to just bide our time. Maybe I should have shocked that Steam Vents so that we can play around Stubborn Denial on Cryptic Command. That was something to think about that I hadn't considered. discarded. Fatal Push, Fatal Push. Ooh, okay. We can... So we can Cryptic to counter this, or we can Bolt, Snap, Bolt, and then this is a whiff, and we'll have 2 Cryptics in our hand. I kind of like that. It's definitely greedy. Let's see, the opponent's going to take 6, go down to 4, but then any Bolt is lethal. We'll attack for 2 with the Snapcaster. Time Warp is lethal. Let's see, a Snapcaster attack would be lethal, although I think it's going to be hard to get a Snapcaster attack in. Yeah, I'm going to do it. It also means Shocklands will come in tapped, which is nice. All right, so we didn't get, a very good draw there, but whatever. Let's see, we can counter this. I think we do. I think our opponent probably has Stubborn Denial, so I think this is worth countering. I'm gonna leave up Gemstone Caverns so that we have Path to Exile up. Yep, there's the... So we can fetch, we can opt now. I think I'm gonna fetch a tapped Hallowed Fountain and then opt. Maybe tap Sacred Foundry. No, I think a tapped Hallowed Fountain. Let's make our Gigadrowses better if we draw them. It was pretty clever of our opponent to wait, but we might even just bottom this card. Or we might even just top this card. Alright, so our opponent knows about Snapcaster. Ooh, that's pretty sick. I think this is lethal. Let's see, so yep. So it was we Temporal Mastery, and then this turn still cast Snapcaster for Path. Path their Snapcaster, untap, attack with Snapcaster, they die. Cool stuff. Having access to Path was really good against Gurmag Angler there. Anyway, let's see. Death's Shadow. I'm not sure if we want Terminus or not. Grixis Death's Shadow. I think we want the ability to play a flash threat. I think we want some number of Thing in the Ice, but not 3, maybe 2. I think we want Negate in the Counter War. I think we want Disdainful Stroke for Gurmag Angler and Tassiger. Do not want Ceremonious Rejection. Don't think we want Anger. Geist is a tricky one. I don't think we want Geist. Yeah, I think something like that. So I usually like boarding out both some number of mine effects and also some number of warps. The reason being they can rip your hand apart so effectively that if you're missing either part A or part B, right, either the mines or the warps, then your hand isn't very effective. So they just really do a good job of making our plan A ineffective. Let's see. I think I'm fine with cutting a Snapcaster again. Commandeer I kind of want to keep in. I really enjoy commandeering your opponent's turn 1 discard spell and then, you know, messing up their hand instead of them messing up yours. It's a 2 for 3, but it's 2 of their best cards and 3 of your worst cards, so it's usually worth it. Let's see. What else can we trim? How about 1 Exhaustion? I don't especially like Jace against a deck that has lightning bolts in it, but I think he's fine because bouncing a Garmag is pretty good most of the time. I think we actually just don't even want this other thing in the ice. All right, let's try it like that. This is pretty lucky. We need another land to get this dictate. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it. It's kind of rough regarding, we have Temporal Mastery and Jace, but do we just get rid of the Temporal Mastery in case our opponent like thought seizes the Jace? If we don't get rid of the Temporal Mastery, then what are we getting rid of? Lightning Bolt, probably. Guess we could do that. Lightning Bolt isn't great right now. Yeah, let's do that. Wow, we even get to opt before our first turn. Sure. I think I just want to play a tapped Sacred Foundry. I think the only thing I could opt into that I would want to cast is like another opt, probably. Although I suppose if our opponent went turn 2 Garmag Angler and then we drew Path to Exile, I would want to have cast it on their turn so that we can get Dictate down after that. Yeah, that might have been a mistake. Might have been better to just play the Scalding Tarn, but okay. They're probably taking Dictate here. I'm just not going to cast the opt yet. This way, if they cast another Inquisition, we get to try to opt and escape from it. Well, actually, I guess if they're doing that, they would take opt now, huh? All right, they probably don't have another Inquisition. Either that or they weren't thinking ahead. All right, I'm now regretting getting rid of that lightning bolt, but let's see what we can find. We don't have 4 lands for this. I think that has to be bottom. Oh, nice. Get out of here. Opponent needs like double Street Wraith to get rid of that, or to get that out of range, and that seemed really unlikely. If our opponent had Street Wraiths, they probably would have been using them earlier. This looks like a Garmag Angler to me. I think casting Jace and bouncing the Garmag is pretty good. Our opponent could do something like, you know, Lightning Bolt and then have a follow-up, but I think it's the best we got. Let's see, I think I'll get a Hallowed Fountain. Yeah, hopefully Jace survives. I'm not expecting him to, but oh, I guess our opponent didn't have anything. I'll see you for round 5. All right, here we are for the 5th and final round. We've lost the die roll, but this is another pretty lucky looking hand. I think this is a keeper, and I think we get rid of Snapcaster Mage here. So the plan is turn 1 Island, turn 2 Sulfur Falls Dictate, turn 3 Exhaustion, turn 4 Time Warp. I mean, that seems like a pretty solid plan to me. This has been a pretty lucky league for us in terms of Gemstone Caverns anyway. Ooh. Interesting. So this is probably another Phoenix deck. And I'm going to make the judgment call here that we do just want to slow them down. I think we're just going to tap both of their permanents at their upkeep. And the reason being, the opponent can very easily do something like cast a Manamorphose, cast a Faithless Looting, and then cast a cantrip and put a bajillion power on board with discarding Arclight Phoenix, and Swiftspear is going to be a lot. Also, we just don't have a lot of spots in our curve where we're not doing anything right now. So I think we just want to fire this off ASAP, which means literally now. So I don't think the opponent is going to play anything like Is It Charmer or whatever, so I'm not going to cast the Dictate now. This would be, you know, the opportune time when they had cracked their Scalding Tarn if we were worried about counter spells, but typically, you know, Swiftspear decks, yeah, that's fine. I guess I'll cast this in response to Thing in the Ice, sure. But yeah, typically Swiftspear decks don't also play counter spells because they just want to you know, they just want to cast spells on their own turn, not wait around for the opponent to do something. Let's see. So I could opt. Maybe I should have played the Sulfur Falls and opted off that. Wasn't really thinking too hard. Yeah, I probably should have played the Sulfur Falls. I'll get Basic Island. I think our life total matters. We also have access to white in this. I don't think we need another land right now. Okay, now another land would be nice. So we have some options. We could Time Warp. We could part. I'm just going to Time Warp. I'm going to see if we can Awaken Part the Waterveil later. It's certainly nowhere near guaranteed. We're only drawing 1 extra card a turn right now, but I think it's a good thing to strive for. Okay. This turn I think I'm just going to Snap Warp. I guess Snapcaster isn't attacking, it's not that much different from just casting Temporal. Yeah, I think I'll just Snap Warp though. I don't think the opponent is enough of a maniac to main deck Surgical Extraction, right? I guess our opponent could also be afraid of Bolt, speaking of which. Let's see if we can trick him. Yeah, I think we're just hard casting this. All right, cool. So we did get to Awaken Part the Waterveil. That's pretty sweet. The part that kind of sucks here is we are shy of necessarily killing them, but we do get to Jace bounce Thing, so our Awoken land is very unlikely to die. Oh, wait, I should attack first, just in case. Because we need to tap all of our lands, so our elemental is not attacking this turn anyway. Let's see. Yeah, and I'm not going to cast this Dictate at upkeep because we might end up just Jace bouncing thing. Let's see, Jace bounce thing, and then upkeep, tap, tap, tap. And that seems pretty good. I feel like the opponent's pretty dead here. Not used to the tapping having blue at the bottom. With the blue-red lands, the blue is always on top, but with the white-blue, it's... Let's see, is it charmed to kill Snapcaster? That's fine. I don't think there's any way out for our opponent here. They don't have any phoenixes in the yard. There's just, yeah. Well, I guess we need to bolt them. They are at 7 right now. We can only attack them for 6, but whatever. All right, another Phoenix deck. I mean, technically we didn't see any Phoenixes, but I'm pretty sure it's a Phoenix deck. So I think we're gonna want the negates. I think we're gonna want these things. Yeah, I don't think we want Ceremonious Rejection. Disdainful Stroke really only hits Crackling Drake. They're not, they're realistically not going to cast Phoenix. Vendilion Clique doesn't block very well and doesn't attack very well. Anger's a little too slow. Geist doesn't attack very well. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Because our opponent didn't show us Young Pyromancer, I don't think I want to bring these in. Let's see. Or rather, I think I want to bring the lightning bolts out. Yeah, I think I'm okay with, again, taking out a Jace and a Temporal Mastery against a deck that has a lot of lightning bolts and 3-power haste flyers. And I think I'm okay with cutting part the Waterveil. All right, let's try it like that. This hand looks pretty good. Let's see, we've got a white source for path, we have snap path, we have opt. Yeah, that is a keeper. Let's see, Thing in the Ice, Lightning Bolt, or the mills. I'm not sure if I want to opt right now, or if I'd rather wait. I think I would rather wait on this opt. It looks like we might have some Phoenixes come into, ooh, double Phoenix, that's pretty bad for us. Let's see, so I can fetch Hallowed Fountain and path one of these now. Yeah, I think I want to do that and then opt look for another path and try to path the other one. All right. This is a lot of damage. Be a little bit more careful this time. Get the Hallowed Fountain. All right, I think I'm going to opt main phase, and like I said, we're basically just looking for path here. If we hit path, we play the Glacial Fortress. Ooh. Is that good? I have a feeling like it won't be good right now. It does kind of insulate us against surgical extraction. So maybe that makes it worth. It also insulates us against a counterspell. This is a really tough call. I'm going to top it, but that could definitely be a mistake. And then I think I'm just going to play a tapped Steam Vents. It gives away that we have no interaction, but I think we really just need the life, so. Yeah, not going to Commandeer that. We're really looking to just Commandeer either a counterspell or a surgical extraction, I think. We have Cryptic for that, so we will be able to bounce that later. This Cryptic might get eaten by the Commandeer, though. I think the plan this turn is to snap. Oh, okay, we have just path. We could still snap path. I think snap path is better. If they flip Thing in the Ice, we're going to take a lot. I think we want to wait on this path. The opponent can have counterspells, but I think giving the opponent another land to flip the Thing in the Ice is a really big deal. So I think we need to wait there. It's definitely a tough call, though. Yeah, I think we want to just upkeep this. Oops. Like I said, not used to the blue mana being on the bottom on these lands and being on the top on these lands. Yeah, I think we need to Commandeer this Surgical and hit Faithless Looting. This both protects the path in our hand and stops our opponent from using Faithless Looting, which is kind of a big deal. We do lose Commandeer and Dictate, which kind of sucks, but I think it's what we gotta do. Oh. Can't play around that. Let's see, Thing has 2 counters on it after this. Our opponent has 2 cards in hand, but also a Faithless. All right, I think we need to path the Phoenix. Man, that Spell Pierce was brutal. Let's see, so we're going to be out of Path to Exile after this, which sucks a lot. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is real unfortunate. I think we're losing this game now. Oh, wow. Mutagenic growth. Okay. Well, our lightning bolts aren't very good. Let's see. So this is 9. If the opponent has a bolt, then we're just actually dead. What? Why didn't they kill us? Not even a gut shot for style points? Alright, well, I don't think we have anything here. Maybe double Gigadrowse? Gigadrowse, tap their 2 things, opponent has literally nothing, and we would live? Yeah, there's nothing we can have on 1 mana. Alright, let's kill ourselves in style. Okay. Let's see, do we want to change anything? Maybe Vendilion Clique is better than I give it credit for because it can mess with the opponent's hand, which is kind of a big deal when they have counter spells. And I think Gemstone Caverns is not really going to do much for us anymore. You done good. You done good. Alright, we will go first. Oh man, this hand has too many lands in it. I mean, it is good against a Phoenix, but it's not good against anything else. Like, not even a little bit good against anything else. Yeah, I think we have to mulligan that. Oh, no. Alright, well, we have a Dictate and 2 lands. I guess that's something. Kind of wishing I had just kept the first one now. But I think we have to keep this, and I think we need to keep a land on top, so just play the Foundry tapped. Ooh. Yeah, that first hand would not have done much against a Swiftspear. But then again, neither does this hand. Those Termini are really not where they need to be. I'm glad the opponent didn't cast any spells before that, but yeah, I guess that's the reason. Let's see, so I think we want another white source in case we get to hard casting Terminus time, so let's do that. The opponent could have counter spells, so we could play Dictate now. However, that really just fuels our own death because of these 2 things, so I think we just need to hope that our opponent doesn't have counter spells and get a little bit lucky. Basically, I don't think we're really beating a counterspell in any reasonable fashion. Well, the good news is our life total is still kind of high. The bad news is, as soon as these things flip, we will not be at a very high life total. So we really need to draw something good. This Exhaustion is going to give us some time to do that, to draw something good, but it really needs to happen. Negate doesn't quite count yet. Neither does that. Let's see, if we could draw Time Warp in our next 2 cards and then a land after that, we would actually just get to hardcast a Terminus, which is really sweet. So let's try to do that, I guess. That's not it. So we have options. We could Cryptic to bounce a thing now and play around a counterspell. However, I don't really like doing that because I think it's unlikely that our opponent will both flip the things and also have a counterspell for our Cryptic when we would tap their team at upkeep, or sorry, at beginning of combat. So I think I'm going to let the opponent untap. We do need to play a land, so let's do that. I think I'm going to let the opponent untap. And if they do flip the things by beginning of combat, we'll go for the Cryptic, and if they do not, then we'll just get attacked by a Swift Spear, I guess. After that, we're probably hard casting a Terminus. All right, this is making it look more likely like the opponent has that exact hand of, 2 cantrips and a Spell Pierce, so maybe I should have bounced a thing. No, I guess, yeah, it didn't even need to be cantrips, it just needs to be any spell. Hopefully our opponent just casts an Is It Charm, just tap out for something stupid. Come on, you can do it. Oh no. Oh god, no. Alright, well, it's gotta be tap your team, draw a card, and it looks like our opponent does have some kind of 2-mana counterspell, so unfortunately we don't have the mana for negate here. Yeah, that sucks. Alright, good game, opponent, you earned it. So I had a lot of fun playing this deck, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching. In terms of how the gameplay went, having access to Path to Exile was really good when we got to path that Gurmag Angler, or just like pathing those Arclight Phenai, or Thing in the Ice. Basically all the stuff that Lightning Bolt just doesn't deal with, having access to path was really, really nice. In terms of the mana, it was pretty good. We basically had the colors that we needed basically every time we needed them. The mana base was a little bit more painful than I wanted it to be, but it wasn't too bad. The margins that we won or lost by weren't just because of the mana base, although there was that one time I misclicked and got a Hallowed Fountain when it should have been an island, but we were going to be dead either way, so no big deal. Yeah, in terms of the main deck, I think this is really nice. Opt proved to be pretty good just in terms of leaving up either Snapcaster Opt or Dictate, or just having options where you don't need to tap out for Serum Visions at sorcery speed. It was pretty nice. I'm not sure how much more it would have helped to have Scry 2 rather than Scry 1. I didn't miss it too much. I thought I would miss it a lot more, but yeah, Opt was pretty good. In terms of the sideboard, I think it would be nice to have more Stony Silence. In particular, if you have a lot of KCI or Hardened Scales or Traditional Affinity or that Whir of Invention deck or Lantern Control, just anything that has Mox Opal in it, you really want Stony Silence. I think we can afford to cut some number of Ceremonious Rejection for Stony Silence. I didn't get a chance to play Geist. There were just too many times where I felt like Geist wouldn't actually be able to attack, because yes, it is hexproof and it does hit for 6 when it attacks, but it is also a 2/2 with no evasion. If your opponent has a creature with 2 power, a Snapcaster Mage or a Death Shadow or a Gurmag Angler or a Spell Queller, just anything, then Geist can't actually attack. It is really good against Control and Tron, which are 2 things that we didn't see. So, maybe it has a lot more merit than I'm giving it credit for. But yeah, I was underwhelmed. Vendilion Clique, similarly, didn't really cast it, didn't really board it in that much. I think it's okay, but I'm not sure if it can justify its sideboard slot. Having 1 toughness is kind of a big deal. it means, it dies to any creature with flying. It dies to 1/4 of Lingering Souls. It dies to Gut Shot if your opponent is on the Phoenix deck and plays Gut Shot or whatever. I just don't think it's, stable enough. Terminus, I think, would have been really good if we could have miracled it, if it had been in anywhere besides our opening hand, but, obviously that's where the miracles belong. Yeah, the rest of the sideboard seems pretty solid. The negate is fine. In our particular case, it would have been better as a dispel, but I think having negate is in general better, just so it can hit random things from like KCI or, Planeswalkers out of Tron or whatever. Things that dispel doesn't normally hit. I think it's worth having that flexibility, even though negate does cost twice as much mana. Disdainful Stroke, we didn't get to see in action either, but I think it's perfectly fine. Yeah, this deck was really solid. I had a lot of fun piloting it. So thanks again to Zachary Cohen for coming up with this deck list, and thank you for watching. I'll see you for the next video.